god.
Wow.
Uh,
Nice asset, girl. Make that fire
that's the
by
line that I used
yourself.
to my wife. That no, I did not. Absolutely did not do that.
I gotta admit that even though this is definitely not intentional, it adds something.
It kind of like sets a mood for it. It's a little more.
This is
somber,
definitely a
little more
corrupted
kind of like
god ray or
fantasy.
something, but
Right. They've decided your world shall end, and you could see the dying light now from the sun. The last light it shall shed before
this
it goes out.
game
And,
is sponsored by Dying Light.
What's the meaning of this interruption?
Actually, though, like both the giant fight and that immortal fight where you guys were doing the ring around the rosy kind of thing.
Jarl will want to speak to you personally.
The thing that really kind of bugged me, like I was saying before, my friend really kind of seduced me into playing this by talking about all the stuff you don't have to do this generic force-fed main quest where you're the chosen one, the kind of thing. And just remember doing all this side stuff and then finding Blackreach was the turning point for me. That's where I was blown away by how much love was put into the stuff. I know Blackreach is part of the main quest line, but just seeing how much stuff was there to discover, right? If you go randomly, like either following the main quest, which opens up some dungeons that are locked, but also all the stuff that I found on my own, completely ignoring all the stuff I was supposed to do, or like crap, right? That blew me away about this game. It's fantastic, and it's a lot of effort to put that stuff in. But like you experienced with these fights with the giant ring around the rosy, what still made me crazy was no matter how cool the environment was, right? No matter how awesome the dungeon was, the backdrop, the story, the lore, the items I was looting there, everyone that I'd fight there had that level of freaking AI. You're like, oh, it's 17 Falmer. I'll now run in a circle and then I'll die. Oh, it's a giant. I'll run in a circle and then they'll die. Oh, it's this, oh, it's a Charis. It's a this. It's a bandit. It's this. I'll just run in a circle. And they'll
Doesn't
die.
matter.
And it's not even so much how they engage necessarily. It wasn't the fact that, like, of course they're going to chase you, that kind of stuff. It was also the fact that, like, you could do some really simple stuff, just like backing off, or like retreating to heal, or like anything else besides just chase the player until I'm at 0 health.
Yeah, because that's basically like that's less than the AI of Pac-Man if you think about it. Go-to player, hit with weapon.
No, like they
and Pac-Man's like, yeah, every single one is a different AI, and it was an arcade game.
That was the coin op arcade stuff in the day. I mean, I remember playing that, putting quarters into it in the arcade, and yeah, like just the fact that even back then they had 4 different pathing, like 4 completely different behaviors in there to really make it much more dynamic. And you're right, that's you're talking about it's stuff from ages ago, or I mean, technically it's I guess the oldest versions were they CGA, were they only 4-color? It's around like the 4-color era, where getting 4-colored sprites on the screen was amazing, right? It was just beyond like Asteroids, which is like the green screen kind of stuff, green and black, right? So yeah, like that was the level of sophistication of the AI, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just these guys in this area. Maybe there'll be a boss fight or two, maybe whatever. And generally speaking, with the exception of maybe Chendor in the Thardiams, right? That one dude who teleports around, like that's a really interesting fight because position becomes so important. The exception of like 1 or 2 handcrafted bosses. Every single enemy of the game is just, they will chase you in a circle, and it made me freaking crazy. And yeah, it was just such a clash against like the beauty, the lore, all the different aspects that came together to make the game such a rich experience in every other way. And then just like the enemy behavior when you actually get into a conflict, it's just like again, cue the Benny Hill yakety sax music in the background. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I don't know if you had that same kind of reaction or reflection when you started playing Skyrim, or maybe at some point.
Honestly, when I started playing Skyrim, I was pretty young, and I found out about it because whoa, what the hell was that? Why are okay? Anyway, I got distracted. When I first played it, I was in such awe of this open world experience because I didn't have too many open world games, and Skyrim really spoiled me because it was like one of my first like really open world experiences. Like the closest thing to like a open world experience was like a Dragon Ball game for Game Boy Advance before. So I mean, so like from going to that being my closest thing to an open world game to Skyrim of all things. Like Skyrim, when you think open world game, let alone open world RPG, you definitely think Skyrim, right? That's one of the first things that anyone would say, even if they never played it, really. If you think open world game, that's pretty much one of the things you think of immediately. And I was in such awe of all these things, and it was just crazy. And then I kind of diverged with my friend because he never really was into modding that much, and that was my favorite part about it. When I discovered that you can mod this thing, I was all over that because my favorite thing is seeing how mods that had no the mod developer would never see you using this mod with this other mod because it wouldn't make sense to basically. And seeing how all that interacts, plus the fact that nobody probably has the same mod list as you ever if you go crazy and if you do something in Skyrim.
Right.
No one has the same mod list as you, and if they do, it's probably in a different order, so everything will interact. And then on top of that, with all these things, even without all these new options, nobody would play the same as you with all the styles that are in Skyrim and all the stories you can make on yourself. So the combination of that makes Skyrim an infinitely, even if it won't be fun to infinitely, but it's infinitely replayable in that sense because no two people if even without mods, no two people can really have the same experience in Skyrim. Because even if you follow the main quest as soon as you get it and don't do any side quests and use the same weaponry, there's going to be little things in the AI that are going to be different. You're going to have a different experience every single time, basically. And it's just
Yeah.
that's so fascinating to me that yeah, you get that opportunity to have like a unique adventure versus like saying like I love games like The Legend of Zelda, all those things, but like go back and play that. It's like everybody's done this. Maybe they fought a different monster at this one section, but overall they did the same exact thing as you. And even if you did mod games like that, what would you do? Resprite one of the characters, just another character, but they shoot something different. And
Right.
so even with the sort of repetitive AI combat in Skyrim, the fact that there's so many variables and so many different things that even if you try to imitate someone else's playthrough of the same mod list, you wouldn't be able to do it. That's what's so fascinating to me. That's why there's so many Skyrim randomness series, especially from my favorite YouTuber of all time, the Scatsbury. I love that channel so much.
Oh, cool.
That's really what inspired me to really get into wanting to make Skyrim videos, and I haven't done that really. I've mostly done other modding. Here's this cool camera that does when you're not moving for a while. But anyway, that's he really inspired me because I looked up. I think I don't know what I looked up, but I was looking for Skyrim funny moments, and one of his videos came up, and and since then it became my favorite channel. I run a server called the Official Scatsburian Society, which is what he refers to himself as in the about page on his channel. So he joined at one point but left immediately. I don't think he likes me very much. Yeah, but I don't try to interact with him. I checked in on him when he disappeared because he disappeared for a while, but he's back lately. But enough of my tangent about my favorite YouTuber ever, and back to back to the fact that it's just he got me so inspired to make Skyrim content, which I haven't done that well of because I've been mostly doing other modded content. But he had such crazy gimmicks with the AI, and it was so funny to see that. And to be able to even get close to imitating a style of that is such a thing for me, but it didn't work out well because recording Skyrim never works out well. I don't know how these people that don't have the NASA supercomputers do it.
Right. I think it's more of an art because I know several folks that really take it seriously, and even
This is what the Whispering
after
Lady
doing-
looks like, by the way. That's the model you use to load the dialogue for the Whispering Lady. Yeah.
Such a seductive voice. Oh, you're.
Yeah. Let's just
But,
say I'm within the cabinet, if you get me.
Insert jokes about her curves and arches there, right with it. Yeah.
Bit flat, but yeah, it's just it's so crazy that once you factor in different play styles, different side quests, different missions, and not even mods yet, there's infinite replayability with Skyrim technically, with so many things that could happen, different random events, And then once you factor in the fact that you could look for any mod that you want, it's just the possibilities for Skyrim are literally like limitless, especially with the ever growing mod community. It's not even I don't think Skyrim's modding community is dwindling. I think the projects are just getting crazier, so they take longer. So like the Beyond Skyrim Bruma and all that stuff, they're adding whole new other areas of the world of the Elder Scrolls, and it's just crazy. The whole balance of Skyrim modding are getting crazier as people find new things. I really think that's part of the reason why uh Bethesda doesn't want to work on the Elder Scrolls 6. They're afraid to tamper with this balance of this game where they've created where it's going to last forever basically. So like they don't want anyone to jump onto the Elder Scrolls 6 because that might ruin the tender balance of Skyrim modding community, which I don't think it would, but it's definitely a possibility, and I see why they'd be worried about that. So the fact is that people will continuously make these new mods for people to jump in, and new people want to test these things, and people that haven't bought Skyrim are going to want to buy Skyrim because it's more than the game now. It's kind of like in a lot of ways it's like Minecraft, how you have all these things that you can create. It's an engine in itself. Like it's almost like Skyrim is like an engine, like how Roblox is an engine, and basically it's just a thing that allows you to create within this world. And it's just crazy that that like that you get that within a simple role playing game gives you just infinite possibilities, infinite scope, whether you're the artist or the observer. There is no limits to what you can view within the bounds of this shitty game engine, to be real. It's not a good engine, but it's crazy what Skyrim is. It's just it's more than what it is, really. It's not a game about dragons or being the chosen one or having a shitty follower that blocks your way all the time or or all the countless My
Feature,
Little
not a
Pony
bug, right?
or all the countless My Little Pony mods and all that shit. It's it's a it's an artistic like viewing of game industry itself, how mods affect art and how art affects like mods really. Cuz there's going to be countless of those mods that like the funny ones that were funny back in 2016, like whoa, the dragons are now this wrestler guy. Isn't that funny? Everyone does that on their list basically. Everyone's like,
Oh God,
that's the
Macho
funniest.
Man, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna snap it from Slim Jim, like all that shit. Like but beyond all that, that just goes to show that any community with the time to create mods can have their own little effect on this world here. And beyond that, anyone who has the ability to download can observe any of those artistic things and then combine them in ways that they weren't meant to. So not only is there infinite capabilities to create art in this world in the form of mods, but there's infinite possibilities to remix that art in the ways that was never foreseen. Like when you were developing your mods, like you weren't thinking of all the countless possibilities that people could combine like your mods with in a playlist. Like at one point I had them interacting with the Warzone mod and like this one mod that adds like pretty much every franchise ever. So your mod was entangled with Batman and all that shit. So I forget if I put that up or not. I don't know if I ever recorded it because it was so terrible. It was so high intense that I couldn't record it. And I hope this series is gonna record properly. I'm recording at like 720p 30 FPS, which is not that good for YouTube 2020. I'm gonna be, but I hope that this does get viewed because if you ever have if you ever want a platform to create your own little piece of a world, if you learn how to use the creation kit to create a mod, then even if it's some shitty like orcs are now slightly less green like type mod, that's your own little artistic piece of this world that you can now forever have, and anybody could potentially mix that with anything. And that's such a unique concept that yeah, it's technically possible, like other games like Fallout 4, but it never has the same balance as as Skyrim does with its modding community. So overall, it's in many ways it's almost beyond art in some ways, because the way you can mix things, like you couldn't just take Picasso and mix it with Mona Lisa, but in the form of Skyrim modding, and you could mix your organic factions with new worlds and all that. And if it, you know, and everything this combines, and whether it affects each other, it depends on little intricacies with the mods themselves, which is this it's a crazy concept, really. That's why I fall in love with modding this game, and I wish I could make more content on it. Hopefully, if I get a better PC, because this is definitely low end, but if I told anyone who wasn't in the gaming community that this was low end, they'd be like, what the hell do you mean a GTX 1050 Ti is low end? Yes, it's low end. I've had much lower end before, but this is definitely not. I wouldn't even count this as medium end, because it's good. It's good, but it's not. It's not. I can record beautiful artistic Skyrim videos with crazy mods in them good, which isn't I guess it's not a fair precedent to hold a computer against, but that's basically the only reason that's what I look for in a gaming computer, pretty much. If it could handle me killing Skyrim with it.
Kind of like this, right? With the texture.
Yeah.
Strange texture right here.
Yeah, with
Squizzard vision.
the Squizzard vision. They're Squizzard fissures in reality. But
I'm terrified. We'll have a whole vernacular built up around this, right?
yeah.
But I totally know what you mean. Not to cut you off, by the way. I don't want to.
No,
I
I
don't wanna
think
interrupt
I think I've said that all.
Cool, but no, I totally agree with you about this idea of, and I hate using overused terms like, you know, synergy. Like, oh my god, if I hear one more person in the business world use that, I'm gonna go in a dry heap. But yeah, like it's the synergy, but it's not just of like this sword plus this combat style mod, you know, this kind of stuff. It's the synergy of the subtle mechanics, because every time you put a mod in there that does anything else, aside from just graphical stuff, I'm not downplaying graphical stuff. In fact, I'll swing back on that in a moment. But you're changing the fundamental mechanics of the game, and a tiny little change like that. It's similar to having a worldwide change in real life. You know, you have, if you change the heat of the planet or the oxygen content of the planet, suddenly you get boa constrictors that are 50 feet long, or you get dragonflies that have a wingspan of 12 feet. Or so, like, you get this incredible cascade of events that completely change the ways that all the subtle components interact with each other. And I completely agree with you. Like, it's this beautiful subtle art of blending things together, and then the final product that you get is a fundamentally changed world, even if each of the pieces on their own didn't have that scope necessarily, or didn't have that intent necessarily. The end product is something that has fundamentally changed the way that you just described, and that is fantastic. I completely agree. The beauty that you get from this is seeing that cascade, is just seeing you change a few little gears, and then you see how it affects the entire machinery of what this thing is. That's actually, and right here, that's gorgeous. Like, I think
it's a beautiful catastrophe, because it's clearly not intentional.
It's almost like 3D stained glass in some way, right? Like, accidentally 3D stained.
That's actually part of the beauty too, because this is definitely not intentional. Someone didn't purposely program this into their mod, but whatever mixture of things caused this to happen, or maybe it's just a glitch in the Skyrim code, whatever. That maybe I caused it somehow by not having some file or some shit. But whatever caused this is a beautiful unintentional thing. That's an interaction between something, and that's just part of what I was saying. How even the bad parts, things that you didn't intend to happen, can make it into a unique experience. Like I haven't seen too many people playing Skyrim where this happens with every single light source. Like, it's its own little thing. And it could be a combination of two mods that are in my list that don't interact well, so they break the lighting system, that both have maybe like less than 1,000 downloads, and that means that the chances of any other person that has modded this game having both of those things working together in tandem like that, especially maybe even in specific loading orders with some overwrite, maybe that is specifically what caused this, and so it's rare, but maybe it's a common thing that I've just never heard about. But the thing is that things that are unintentional are still part of the art. Like, if Mona Lisa had like a weird smear line on it, the art would still be art, and it would still be sold. It wouldn't be like, oh, that doesn't look like art, I'm not buying that. You know, like even things that even things that don't seem like art, like modern art, it is art in a certain way, and it's debatable, but I mean, like, something that hasn't been done before that gets a message across about what art is fundamentally is still art, even if you're just like putting like a stupid banana on a wall and stapling it there or something. You know, you're still you're just still gauging on what it means to have art, and it is a good debate.
Are you a wizard?
Right. Actually, building on what you just said, like it's kinda like stylization, right? Like you're trying to represent something here, and
Oh shit.
whether another homeboy looking for a fight,
Yeah.
normal stuff. But oh hey, wrong arena to fight in, dude. Your exact point. There we go.
Hope I can do that with a single. Is there decapitation with this? Oh, it might have to get out.
To your point with appearance and with visual representation of art.
Didn't mean to hit you, Fendel. Oh shit, might have to take him down again. What? He's just.
The console them again or something. Yeah, you just need to wipe them for their weak. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
There we go. Cha. All right, now that that's
Now that's settled.
the other light show, right? Here we go. But yeah, about what you're saying with visual representation and
Hopefully
with
it does.
visual expressions of art and seeing the variations. And that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago about textures and that kind of thing. It's incredibly important because those
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire.